Greetings, Focus fans. Welcome to Real Destinations, the travel series where we tour the locations that make our favourite movies look and feel real. And today, I'm excited because we're in a brand new destination for this show. So join me as we trek across this beautiful country and explore some of the locations seen in Robert Eggers' new film, The Northman. This is Northern Ireland. The Northman is an epic revenge tale that follows Amleth, a Viking prince, on his quest to avenge his father's death. Played by Alexander Skarsgård, Amleth travels through dangerous terrain that tests his bravery and brawn. Also starring Nicole Kidman and Anya Taylor-Joy, The Northman delves into the world of Vikings in a way we've never seen before on the big screen.
I will avenge you, father.
We're here at TORR, a remote headland on the northern coast overlooking the Sea of Moyle. And if you look behind me, you might be able to see Scotland in the background. This proximity was serendipitous for the Northman production team because it served as the location for Hraefni, the Viking village seen at the beginning of the film, set in 10th century Scotland.
Action!
For the Northmen, that meant building an entire Viking village. Set builders began construction in early 2020 and had to brave some pretty treacherous weather and muddy conditions to get the job done.
This is the same path I walked with my father. Now it is our path to walk.
Although this area is home to a fictional Viking village, it is rich in history. And joining me to tell me more is former history teacher Frank Rogers. Hi, Frank.
The influence of the Vikings can still be felt in Ireland in that they contributed. The first cities which were built in Ireland were built by the Normans. Dublin is the most famous example, of course.
One day this kingdom will be yours.
Thank you, Father.
The first coinage used in Ireland was introduced by the Vikings, which replaced the old system of exchange and barter. And we've got a lot of loan words from the Vikings, words to do with pillage and robbery, as you might imagine.
I love the Irish words and Irish phrases. What's your favourite?
Unairi and Boherlap, which means may the road rise with you.
While the weather was certainly a challenge for the production team, finding the right locations proved to be an even bigger logistical puzzle for location manager Naomi Liston.
I was picturing locations here in my head as I was reading it, which is always a fantastic start. It was a lot of tricky, interesting locations, but of course none of them are meant to be in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
So as I was reading the script, I was trying to think, gosh, how am I going to get all these different looks?
What was the decision to shoot the whole film in Northern Ireland?
For a small place, it's very diverse. People are very, very welcoming. It's a really lovely place to work.
Here at CLANDEBOYE Estate, another impressive set was built, a Slav village where a crew of bloodthirsty warriors descend and attack the town. So the Slav village was built right here?
Yes, the goal is always to try and find a site that you'll be able to find more than one location in. And I was very lucky with CLANDEBOYE here because they've got a huge amount of variation in their species of trees. This made it quite a good place to try and pick up a number of other locations as well, whilst making the Slav village, which took about 15 weeks to build.
After the battle, Amleth meets Olga, a Slav woman and white witch, and the two form an instant and strategic bond which develops as they journey towards Iceland.
Your strength breaks men's bones. I have the cunning to break their minds.
When I was reading the script and I was reading about the Viking boat coming up the river, the first river that came into my mind was the River BANN. Only because I know it as to be one of the widest ones in County Antrim. So we were going to have to transport the boats, crane the boats into Antrim Marina there, do all the nautical architectural testing there to make sure that they were seaworthy. Then we rowed them round to Shane's Castle.
We cannot escape our fate.
This is Shane's Castle, the ruins of a 14th century castle and the home to the Honourable Shane O'Neill. How long has your family been here on this land?
There's been a house here for a while, at least 600 or 700 years. The O'Neills have been around a while.
And I've heard a rumour about a banshee that haunts the property.
There is a rumour that the daughter of one of my ancestors was taken by the fairies, and apparently when one of us is about to pop our clogs, she comes and wails a bit. So the rumour is in 1816 that the banshee was a little annoyed and set the house on fire because there was too much fun being had at that particular time.
You haven't seen anything unusual, supernatural?
No. Thankfully, I've never heard her.
I noticed there was a profile of a face carved into the wall. What's that about?
Yes, the black head of the O'Neills, which, if that should fall off, this particular branch of the O'Neills apparently will die out. Well, anyway, we'll say no more about that. But I don't go and look at it every day, let's just say that.
Well, it's still there, so I think
It's
you're
still
okay.
there, yeah, thankfully, yeah.
You there, my lord! Your shipment is here!
Doubling for Fionna's farm in Iceland is perhaps one of Northern Ireland's most historic mountains, Knockdhu. These rolling pastures and steep cliffs are so well protected that Naomi worked closely with an archaeologist to ensure the preservation of this area while filming.
Knockdhu is a very, very special place, and it has been for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, production was forced to shut down and the crew had to abandon the sets for over a year. But there was a silver lining when it came to production design, or you might say it was the luck of the Irish.
The outside of the sets were built with peat blocks, and on the roof were lain turf. And literally as the months went on, it just grew. And I was just watching this set just bed into the topography of the hillside. And I remember our senior archaeologist saying, if only we could do school trips round here, because it looks exactly what a Viking village would have looked like.
While visiting this area, I thought I would pay a visit to a local farmer to find out what life is like here in this countryside. I see you've got a lot of sheep. Do you know how many you have?
Yeah, we've about 3,000 ewes.
Wow. And how is it farming here in such harsh conditions?
We like it. It's fresh and green and it's a healthy place to farm. The actual oldest part in the farm for agriculture is about the end of 5000 BC.
How long has your family been on this land?
Our earliest involvement that we know of was 1647. It's a great place. It's a small community, so it's easy to get to know anybody.
Are you excited to see your farm on the big screen?
Yeah, certainly, yes. It's an interesting exercise to be involved in.
What are those?
You've never seen a Canatra before. By nightfall, you'll have seen enough of them.
The Vikings were excellent farmers, but they were also known for their love of sports, or more specifically, their violent athleticism. You can see this depicted in the film when Amleth plays a game for Fiona and his family. To achieve this sequence required 360-degree views of uninterrupted cliffs and fields, which pushed Naomi up into these hills to avoid any signs of modern life.
We had to helicopter all the equipment in. The day before, I was able to get generators in. All the crafts were great sports as well, because there were days out on location where it was freezing cold. Their costumes were so authentic, but there was no way you could put extra layers underneath them. And, you know, Skarsgård was always running about bare-chested and everything anyway.
You will find me at the gates of hell.
Although the world of Vikings was cold, violent, and a little bit muddy, it was also rich with mysticism, mythology, and even romance.
Wherever I go, I must take you with me.
And the scenes set in Iceland are definitely some of my favourites in the film. You can really feel the drama with every black sand beach, sweeping vista or thunderous waterfall. And in fact, it was a trip to Iceland that inspired Robert Eggers to make The Northman.
His vision was always going to be as authentic as humanly possible. His level of research and knowledge of his project was astonishing.
A film's locations always play an integral role in bringing a story to life, but I have to say, my adventure through Northern Ireland has been particularly cinematic. You can experience this stunning scenery for yourself by seeing The Northman, directed by Robert Eggers, only in theatres April 22nd.
The threads of fate have bound us together.
Where am I off to next? You'll find out on the next Real Destinations. Bye!